And as I normally do, I'll be instead for Mayor Howard, who's a little bit under the weather. And since he's unable to be here tonight, according to the village Enon Rules of Council and the Ohio Revised Code, if the mayor is absent, the president of council or president pro temp becomes the presiding official. Therefore, as president of council, I'll be acting on behalf of Mayor Howard this evening. So, Mr. Seifert, if you go ahead and call the roll, please.
Mr. Babcock?
Here.
Mrs. Sweet?
Here.
Mr. Bear?
Here.
Mr. Whitaker? Mrs. Fogel?
Here.
Mr. Hannah?
Here. We do have enough members of council present to satisfy a quorum and call the meeting to order. And if you all join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And with that, do we have any additions or anything notable for the agenda this evening?
Yes, sir, I have a committee report.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. And if y'all will glance over the minutes of Tuesday, April 27th, then I'd entertain a motion for them to be accepted.
With one minor change, it's the American Recovery Plan, just AARP. AARP is for the American Association of Retired People.
Oh, I see that. Okay.
And if they have any grants available, we'd be glad to grab that.
You and I would qualify, unfortunately.
Okay, with the clerical, do we have a motion to approve the minutes? Or do we need a couple more minutes?
So moved.
Second.
If you call the roll, Mr. Seifert?
Mr. Babcock?
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker? Yeah. Mrs. Fogel?
Yes.
Mr. Hannah?
Yes. All righty, and for the financial report. Mr. Seifert, the financial report.
Ready?
Okay.
Need a motion? Or yeah.
Okay, are we prepared to make a motion on the financial report? You want to take a couple minutes to glance it over? Okay, summary by funds, we're still, it looks like doing fairly well off of that, 756,000. We're still, year-to-date received about 48%.
I make a motion, we approve the financials.
If we could, please. Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Fogel. And Mr. Seifert, please.
Mr. Babcock?
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mrs. Fogel?
Yes.
Mr. Hannah?
Yes. And before we get too far, I would entertain a motion to excuse the absence of Mr. Whitaker this evening.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
And Mr. Seifert?
Mr. Babcock?
I guess. I mean,
Mrs.
yes.
Sweet?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mrs. Fogel,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes. Okay, thank you. And at this point, we do not have any obvious presentations on communications. We do have it's the time of year once again to solicit for an appointment to the TCC committee. And I believe that Mr. Seifert has been recommended to replace Mr. Beard
No,
on that.
I'm on that committee now,
Okay,
and I would be fine staying on it. We just had a meeting just last.
okay,
Thursday.
so, but let me understand this. Now, the appointment to the TCC committee, is that to replace Elmer as the
No,
chair?
I
or-
replaced Elmer.
Pardon me?
You
I
replaced him
replaced-
already.
I replaced him already.
But didn't Elmer have a separate seat out there? I thought, no? Okay.
Just when he was on, he was chair, but that's the committee's appointment, not ours. So I'd like to make a motion for Mr. Babcock to be our representative on the TCC committee and his backup to be Mr. Seifert
Okay.
when he
Second.
can't make it.
And if you call the roll, please?
Mr. Babcock,
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mrs. Fogel,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes. And once again, thanks for what you do out there, Dave. Appreciate it. Okay. And with that, we'll move over to the staff reports. And Mr. Seifert, you have the floor, please.
Okay, thank you, council residents. The Bob White update, that project is going actually extremely well. They got all the pipe laid in. They are started backfilling over the pipe as well. So my guess, if they keep going like they have been and the weather holds out, I think within another week they'll probably have things wrapped up, and we'll be looking kind of at a punch list to, kind of tie up some loose ends and things like that. So this contractor is working real well, very polite. I've got some good comments from the residents in the area that they're, great workers and polite and things like that. So we've only had a couple complaints that I've kind of dealt with, but other than that, I think that this project is really going good. So we had a situation that they found a 480 line today that we just had to adjust one end of the pipe, the inlet end of the pipe and the head wall there. So, but we got that taken care of. So, but I think it's going well.
Are we
well.
gaining any elevation there, in the basin that had such a big dip as you went down there? Are they raising the actual height of the roadway any through there that you
If so, it'll be maybe just a couple feet.
About the same profile?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not much, but if so, it'll be just.
I saw the
just a little
drain
bit.
tile, and I was wondering if we might have gained some off of that.
Yeah,
but
it was pretty smashed down there. So yeah, so the water tower update. They started the logo today. That'll finish up this week. And he also said that they should be completed with the tower next week. All except punch list items that Jason will kind of walk through and look at things like that. So that should be finishing up also probably next week, and that's coming along pretty good. We decided to put our council decided with the Enon logo on three sides. The one logo looking toward Rebert Pike, and then the other two. One is going to be kind of off looking from Stein Road, and the other from Cardinal or Fowler Road. So. They should be finishing up on that as well. So
Where do we run out of that? Was that $6,500?
6,000.
Okay.
Once again, a COVID vaccine every Wednesday through June here, 4 to 6 p.m. So that'll be again tomorrow. Citizen of the Year, June 14th at 7 p.m. And I'll have to
It's a Monday night.
June 14th. I'll have to.
Yeah, I just put it on my calendar and let's let him.
Yeah, June 14th and Monday night. Yeah. So,
Flag
Is that
Day.
gonna be here?
as far as I know, if there's if I hear anything different, then we'll definitely email you and get it out on our Facebook and website too as well. So,
Okay.
let's see. The mayor's court report in front of you. This month there was 3 traffic cases. Total funds received $4,630. Year to date, $12,520. Total remitted to the state, $499. Year to date, $1,514.50. And let's see. Total remitted to the village, $4,119. Year to date, $10,959.
Do we need a motion to move that tonight?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. And if you'll call the roll, please.
Mr. Babcock,
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mrs. Fogel,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes.
And as a reminder, I'll be going to the rezoning meeting at Clark County for the rezoning of the 42 acres there on Stein Road. That's on Thursday, May 13th, 9 a.m. In your packet there, I came up with a letter to give to them, to the Clark County officials. If there's any changes to that, let me know. And I can still have time to make changes on that letter, so.
Okay.
And, go ahead.
Have we had much public contact about this to our office that you know of? Or?
I have not personally, Christie has not forwarded any calls or anything, so I'm assuming we have not, so.
Just making sure that because it does not lie in the village proper, but we do have a interest in what goes on naturally. I'm sorry, Kevin, go ahead.
Oh, that's all right. And last, what I have is I did get a paint chart from the Drive It company there in Dayton, and we took it out there and kind of matched up the best we could. So if you guys want to take a look and see what you think of that before you leave, and let me know. Basically, just got 2 colors. So, and then I can go ahead and get that scheduled, get the paint ordered and scheduled. So, other than that, I think that's all oh, nope, sorry. Also in your packet, there's an email from Christie about the Mad River Township Fire and EMS Department is going to have a helicopter landing in the back of the Enon Park on May 20th for a training exercise. And I did a logo for the water tower, that's how big it's going to be. 24 feet long, 6.5 feet tall, 15 inches thick. And then there's a drawing on the basin. I know there was some questions about that. The mayor and I went to a meeting with the superintendent and the contractors, and just to give you an idea, the building is scheduled for demo on June 1st, and then mid-June they will start the site prep in that area. The basin is actually going to be bigger. You can look at it's on page 2 there, kind of an outline. It's not going to be any bigger toward the east. It's going to head toward the north after they get the building tore down there. And what's going to happen is it's going to be approximately from the bottom to the top. It's a detention basin, not a retention basin. So it's going to be a dry basin the majority of the time, except there's those three wells, dry wells there. They will have water in them, approximately 4 to 5 feet deep. The total basin from the very bottom to the top level, to the grade level, will approximately be 12 feet deep. When it rains, they said that within 72 hours, the basin would be drained. Said sometimes sooner, it just all depends. But 72 hours, they have noticed that it's not any longer than 72 hours. They will mow it. They're going to plant grass. They're going to have some cattails. They're going to have some different types of grasses in there. That
They use the school district or they use the county?
the school district will keep mowed. Yes, yes. So as of right now, there is no. It was not designed to have a fence around it. I know there was a question that Brenda had about it. If they're going to fence it in, that was brought up, and they said as of right now, with their other schools, they did not design them with fences around them. The state does not require a fence at this time. So they said they asked if if that's a problem, then we can address it in the future. But they wanted to get it done and get grass in it and just kind of see see how it's going to look and stuff. So, but yeah, if it is still a problem, if council feels that it's going to be a problem, then we can readdress it and reapproach them with it. So,
And
Kevin,
I'm sure we'll all have our eye on that to
Can you check the Muni Code to make sure there's nothing
Sure,
there that
I will do that, yeah.
requires something like a fence? And also, 72 hours is a long time, even though it won't always be a long time. I'm just putting this on record. It doesn't take very long for a child to drown, and there's a lot of homes in the area. And my other concern is that if they're going to wait until something needs to be done, does that mean we're going to wait till someone actually gets hurt there? That's all I want to say.
point well taken.
Thank you.
It's on record. Yeah. So, and I think that's all that came about that meeting. So, I think that's all I have for now.
Okay. Any questions for the administrator? Thank you, Kevin. And Chief, your turn.
Before
I'm
he
sorry.
talks, may I? I'd like to just have a moment of silence this is Police Memorial Week, and I'd just like to have a moment of silence for the officers that have been lost in the line of duty.
Oh, sure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sweet. Evening, council, residents. I had a meeting last week with the county sheriff's department and other entities, township and all that. City referenced the regional dispatch center that the sheriff's office will be putting up. Playing with my volume over there. As of now, they're expected to go online for the Spillman system, which would be the MDT part. That is October 1st this year, 2021, but subject, to change. And then as far as the dispatching, I believe it's all supposed to try to go on October 1st, but I know there's not moving over to the center until later in the year. So at this time, there's no fee for the Village of Enon, but because entities like the fire department, they have fees, and the city haven't shared cost, it's only fair, I think that, and I agree with the group, it's only fair if the city of Springfield and other agencies have to pay, why wouldn't we have to pay a portion as well? Now, they did come up with, in early talks, they talked about mic clicks, basically so many calls, and it was like minimum of, I think it was $10,000 is what the chart says. But I spoke with Major Clark the other day, and he said it looked like they were going to do the calls for service. They weren't really sure on how it was, but as of right now, there was no cost to Enon. So I just wanted to throw that out there. We do currently pay for leads access in our vehicles, which is $2,700, I believe, a year. But we would not have to contract with that company anymore to get that, because we would get that service through. That would be all included. So I personally don't think it's, I think it's, if one entity's got to pay, the other entity's got to pay. And I believe they'll be fair and based off the call volumes. And our call volume's not as much as the city. So, but anyways, that's down the road. We look forward to it because it'll definitely help us as far as generating call numbers and stuff. Dispatch will be able to do that for us. And then we'll also be able to hear all the entities on the channels. We'll have to upgrade a few of our radios for some TAC channels, which we really needed a handful of those put on anyway. I say minimum cost because we're a smaller agency, but I I don't expect it to exceed $5,000. You want the ballpark number on that. So I'm excited about that. But hopefully October 1st we can all be online, as they say. They're in the process of doing some training and stuff, the city and county, because they're all going to be under the same roof. So.
And are they going to be trying to go to the computer aid where it'll actually be dispatched by the computer? Are we going to have any updates on or?
No, fortunately for Enon, our technology is right up there. We're right up there running. We already are able to access stuff like that through our cars. So the only thing I do want to look into is I want to get what's called cradle points, and that's just where you have the Wi-Fi on the vehicle versus carrying those MiFi packs in and out. It's a lot better signal. You do have to pay for the cradle points themselves, and I believe when they contracted with AT&T, I think the figure was when the county, when they had first did it, I think they got a deal where they were like roughly $1,200 each, but then of course you pay the monthly wireless fee, but that would prevent dropping the packs, and then of course it's just a stronger signal, so it's on top of the car. I've already been looking into that, so to speak. I've already had plans to do that with our patrol cars, just because it's just better service and all that. But of course that's a little bit of a fee. But again, no, they'll be able to push the calls out to us, and then if you don't answer, they'll call you over the radio. But they could flip the switch tomorrow. Short of upgrading the software or putting the software on our computers, we're able to run. We could run tomorrow. I mean, you know what I mean? So that's good. I know not all agencies have to do that. I know German Township talked that they do not want to. They're not going to use the MDTs. They're going to just go over the radio. But we won't. We'll stay where we're with everybody else on that. Right. I'd take any questions on that. It's all new to me too, but we will also all be on the same. We can go to the reporting system that they're going to use, and because of the grant that they got, we won't have to pay for that. I can tell you we looked into that before when we originally got our leads and stuff, and the buy-in just for the software and the training was substantial, and that's why we didn't go with it. What they're going with is Spillman, which is what a lot of agencies around us use, and we'll be able to access anybody that basically, if I put something in there, anybody in that system can look and see that we were out with them, which is crucial for law enforcement. Currently, right now, we don't have that, and that's, it's not good. So We'll have that. So I think that's great. And to be able to get that reporting software at no cost is nice. I mean, so.
Heck of a deal.
Yeah, they'll have plenty of servers. They put a lot of work into it and a lot of money. So I'm just glad to see Clark County doing that. I'm happy to see it. So, any other questions? Any questions on that? No? Okay. Some of the miscellaneous communications I have there. One, Miss Sweet, she already said is Police Week, and Saturday is officially Police Officer Day. Yeah, I think John F. Kennedy signed that in back in the day. It also says Armed Forces Day on the calendar, but that is so. I want to thank all of our officers and all everywhere listening. Just thank them for their service, and then I'd also like to, in return, thank the community for their support and everybody that's came up to us and thanked us and sent us the cards and treats. It's much appreciated, and we do see it, and we are thankful to serve a community that's so welcoming to the law enforcement in this area. So we're like it. So I actually had a gentleman, I don't know who he was, but thank you. He bought my lunch today at McDonald's. I kind of stuck, can't do anything, but I waved. Officer Tyree, he was the officer we hired part-time for that had the experience, prior experience. He is finishing up his field training. He will be released here shortly, actually. It's scheduled to work on his own, so I'm glad to see that moving. And then the other officer Cantrell's moving along well, so I'm told. And with that, I don't have anything else after that.
Any news on the new car?
I met with a sales rep last week. He wanted to come in it's his first purchase, first purchase there. He just wanted to go over the order form with me and make sure he had everything perfect, so he didn't mess anything up. He wanted us to be perfect. The chips, Ford is struggling with chips. Mm-hmm. There's a chip shortage.
They all are.
Everybody is,
Yeah. I was told a few months ago our production would start in May. It's not in production yet.
Okay.
But I'm told as soon as they get our chips, they will start our car. So Memorial Day Parade, I did return that also to the VFW, so it is scheduled for the 30th.
Okay.
And it's approved because it's fine now. And that's all I have. Thank you.
And like everybody up here, we sincerely thank y'all for what you do, and we think the world of you for being out there. And thank yous aren't quite enough for the way that
That's for sure.
that we feel about y'all. So,
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Mrs. Sweet, you have a committee report.
I do, sir. Last evening, the Public Service Committee met, and as usual, we had an ongoing meeting for the pay scale and compensation of village employees. We talked about many things again. I think we made a little headway. We found some information that Jeremy is going to research for more recommendations for us. And we did talk, our fiscal officer, Laura Ewing, called in and was able to answer a couple of questions for us, which was very helpful. And one of the main points that I want to mention, just because I want y'all thinking about it, that we discussed and recommend adding another full-time police officer position with the assurance from the fiscal officer that the budget would handle the position. And unless Mr. Bier has anything to add to the report, then I guess I will ask him to make a motion to accept our report.
I make a motion to accept the report.
Thank you, and I will second it since we are the only two committee members here.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there, when you have any questions, do I need to ask for that?
I think we're good
Have
for
we
now.
settled on a thought process going ahead, whether it's going to be more performance-based or entitlement-based?
It's going to be a combination, but performance is going to be very important to it, definitely.
And if I could share a little bit from earlier, before the meeting tonight, Ms. Sweet and I talked, and I think before we move this to any type of final steps, we'll have a meeting with council of the whole, so that way any concerns or any questions we can all get out and understand ahead of time if that's acceptable to everybody. So. With that, I see no old business.
I will bring up one thing, if you don't mind, Rick. I did have a conversation with the State of Ohio Grants Management people today,
Okay.
because there was some confusion after even reading the DDN this morning about how the ARP funding would be distributed,
Okay.
whether it was going to be distributed by the feds or the state. And in my conversation with one of the CPAs up there at Ohio Grants, if the populations are more than 50,000 or more, then you have to apply to the state. If it's under 50,000, which obviously applies to us,
Okay.
then the municipalities that are under 50 residents are going to have to apply to the state. I'm saying this so it's not going to be a direct distribution like CARES Act.
Okay.
We're going to have to apply. And he goes, yes. We're finalizing the requirements for that right now. They should be out within a week or two. But yes, you are going to have to apply. And then, of course, you get half. And so I wanted to just pass that along, that we are going to have to do something to get the money.
I appreciate you.
But he says, do you have any idea? And I said, yes. And he said, well, how do you know? And I forwarded him the spreadsheet that I had. He goes, how did you get that? I said, sir, we just, it's public information. It can be if you want to research it. He goes, we were told this was confidential. And I said, well, it's not that confidential. He said, but no, those are the numbers that we're looking at.
Great.
So he
Yeah.
validated that. So
Appreciate you staying up with that.
470, then that would be roughly, the 235
Okay.
in that first half.
Yeah, if
Of
you
which
can-
Mike's already said he'll take the first 234 and give the rest 1,000 to the admin sign.
we appreciate you staying up with that, and if we find a drop dead date on that, we.
Oh,
we
no,
get
as
it-
soon as
get
I
it-
know,
get it geared.
I'll pass it out to all stakeholders here.
Okay. Thanks, Dave.
You know,
Appreciate it.
Kevin and Mike, as well as all of us and the mayor,
Any other old
and-
business?
our fiscal officer, Laura.
I see no new business for this evening. We will not be having any executive session at this time. With that, Kevin, if we'd open, do we have anybody out there with comments from the public?
Nope.
Elmer?
Catchy tune there.
Unless Elmer has it. Nobody's on the phone.
Mr. Beard,
I'll pass tonight.
we appreciate you being in attendance here. Also, we mentioned before the meeting started, we did have a conversation with Charlie Patterson of the Health Department. And some of the reason that council is not wearing masks up here is if we've had our shots and with the partitions that we have between us, he felt like that would be acceptable
right.
as lack of a better term, an acceptable risk, but acceptable for the COVID standards that are out there now. So as we see things evolve, then we will play this by ear, but for the time being, then hopefully there'll be some sense of normalcy coming back at some time this year, but whatever normalcy be. And with that, I have nothing else other than if somebody wanted to make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Seifert, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Seven.